Welcome to the first video of what I hope is going to be a new series on the channel. Currently, we are going with the name WWKD, What Would Coco Do? But I'm totally open to any creative name suggestions you may have. Just drop them down in the comments because I'm not really sure how I feel about that one. I'm using it as like a placeholder for now. Full disclosure, the comment that I'm going to be responding to wasn't actually submitted to me, but she had left this on someone's reel that I saw, and it had been like a week with no response. So I just decided to respond to her, and we actually ended up having a conversation. And because I thought her question was relatable, I asked if I could share it and turn it into a video. So here we are. I'll post her comment on the screen so you can see it, but she's basically asking for advice because she moved to a new city, a new state, and she was struggling to make some friends. And as somebody who has now moved several times, I like to think I'm kind of getting the hang of it. Maybe. So there's one piece of advice that I have heard repeatedly for this kind of situation. And it might kind of sound cliche, but I think it really has a point. Pick one of your hobbies that you really enjoy, something you're passionate about, and find a place to go or a group to join in your new city. This is also a great opportunity for you to look into hobbies that you might want to pick up. Try something new. If you need some examples, you can join a book club. There are cooking classes you can try, bowling leagues, different sports. You can try craft classes, the gym, hunting. There's like all kinds of things you can try or join if it's already an interest you have. In case you didn't know, mine would be the gym. I'm gonna take this moment to do a little brag for myself. I hit 135 on the bench press this week. Once you found your place to go or your group to join, the key is to show up consistently and regularly, be it every day or a set schedule like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or maybe it's every meeting. Once you start showing up regularly, you're gonna start recognizing other regulars. You're gonna start seeing familiar faces. And the thing is, they're gonna start recognizing yours as well. Now the next step, you're gonna muster up all the courage you have and you're gonna pick one of those people that you see all the time and you're gonna go up and strike up a conversation. Believe it or not, getting the nerves to go talk to somebody, I don't think that's actually the hard part. This is totally just my opinion, but there are two things that I think are actually much more difficult. One, you strike up a conversation, you see them a few times, you try and talk to them, but you're not clicking. It doesn't feel natural. You just don't get the vibe that this is the type of person you want to hang out with, which is totally fine. Sometimes even a shared hobby just isn't enough for you to click with somebody. And of course, on the flip side, you might actually not be for them, even though you want to have a friendship. So the hard part of this first situation is to not let the failed attempt and or rejection get to you and that you keep trying. And I mention this because after one or two tries, you might still have the motivation to go talk to yet another person. But when it's like your fifth or sixth try and you still haven't found a person to click with, it gets discouraging. It really does. And the key is to remember that you just have to keep trying. Not everyone is for you. You are not for everybody. There really is no secret. You just got to keep trying. The way I like to think of it is you've talked to 5 people, whether it's you or them, there's just not that mutual interest in having a relationship. But what if that 6th person that you decide to talk to is meant to be your friend, is the kind of relationship you're looking for? Or on the flip side, what if you're the person that person is looking for? And if you just give up, you just start moping, getting discouraged, you don't try talking to anybody else again, you're missing out. Something else I like to keep in mind to help keep me motivated. What if you decide to finally talk to a person, but you stalled? What if you've been seeing this person come into your coffee shop for like 3 months and finally on month 4, you decide to talk to them and you click? This is just me, but when I click with somebody and I realize, oh my gosh, we could have been friends 3 months ago. That's 3 months worth of time that we missed out on building our friendship. I hate that feeling personally. That is something that I try to remind myself because I don't know if you would really consider it regret because of course you did eventually become friends, but it's just the idea of missing out on that much more time with this new person that I love being around, building a relationship, I don't like the idea of missing out on time. The other thing that I think is actually harder than striking up a conversation, I feel like most people go into a new relationship with the intent of it having a deeper connection eventually. But it's realizing that not all friendships are created equal. Not all relationships will become that deeper connection that we crave. This was a lesson that I learned many times in the military, and it gradually did get easier. But it's remembering that some friends are just for a season. Some friends are just for a certain phase of life, for a season of your life. Some friends are honestly not meant to be your friends at all. Like, you really shouldn't have had a relationship with that person. And then some friends are surface level friends. They are just for a specific area of your life. Maybe you met this person through one of your hobbies and you guys click really well when it comes to that hobby. But outside of that hobby, it doesn't really go anywhere. And then, of course, you have the friends that fill that deep connection that you want. It's understanding that everyone you meet are gonna fall into one of those different categories, even though, at least for me, every time I met a friend, I instantly wanted to go into that deep connection category. And a lot of the times I thought we were in that category, only to find out later, after some time passed, oh, they were just for a season, or they were just for this specific area of my life. I don't know if this is something anyone else can really relate to, because I want to have that deep connection with everybody I meet. So that was discouraging in itself. That was something that I found was hard to kind of accept. I've come to learn to accept it now, but in the beginning it was definitely a little tougher to wrap my head around. The other part of that is to also accept the relationship for what it is, whichever category it falls into, and to not penalize it for not meeting your expectations. So something else that she mentioned that I think is important to touch base on is that she said her and her family are getting ready to move again soon. She's excited to try making friends again in this new area. Now, originally I took this as they are going to be moving like within the next 3 months or something like that. When we started talking more, I actually found out it was going to be about in the next year. So she has some time left. And something that I recommended to her was to take the time to really reflect. What did she do? What did she not do? What could she have done better? How could she have handled a certain situation if it were to come up again? So that way you're kind of already prepared for your move once you're in your new location. Another thing I mentioned is to go ahead and research her new location, which is honestly going to be helpful, not just for the sake of making friends, but for your new life as well in said city. So go ahead and look up what are some stores you might want to go to, the shopping centers, the places that are going to be related to your hobbies where you can find friends. Maybe there's a coffee shop you're interested in checking out. So go ahead and look for those things so that way when you get to the area, you're not spending all the time after your move, after you've settled in, now researching for it. You've already got all that information ahead of time. I don't know if this is a military related thing, but something that was super helpful for me was joining Facebook groups for my new area. In the military communities, there are designated groups based on like neighborhoods, and there's the spouse page, and there's like different Facebook pages set up for that area for the purpose of spouses meeting each other digitally, getting to know each other online. And that was actually a really big resource for me when I was still in the military life, because I had actually met several of my friends digitally first. I don't really know how it came to be, but like I would see someone, they would post something, they would respond to a comment, whatever, and I would strike up a conversation with them on Facebook. And depending on how that conversation went and how frequently we would talk, then we would move that conversation into real life. There were a few cases where the spouse was actually in their previous location. They hadn't moved to my town yet, but they were going ahead and joining the groups, reaching out, networking, so that they could go ahead and make some connections ahead of time so that when they did move, you already had a friend to meet up with. I met a friend like that. She had still been, I think she was still in Washington at the time, and she hit me up the day before my birthday. She told me, hey, I'm finally in town. I'm finally settled in. Do you want to get together? And I was like, yeah, tomorrow's my birthday. Let's hang out. So that's how I actually made a friend. I will say I did try that in the civilian world. In this town that I'm in now, I did search some groups, and I personally couldn't find any groups that were anywhere like the spouse groups. So it might be a little bit harder, but I don't think it's impossible because of course there's still gonna be groups, Facebook groups related to your city, and there are still opportunities to see comments, interact with people, talk to them, and for it to go further. I'm just saying it's gonna be a lot harder to make digital friends the way I used to in the military, but I'm not saying it's impossible. My biggest point in researching your area before, be it digitally or like on a map, is so that once you have all that information, again, you've moved to your new location, you've settled in, you're not wasting any time looking all these things up. You've already done the research, which means now you can go check out that coffee shop, you can go check out that gym, you can go check out the craft store that you've been eyeballing. And that means you get to start going there regularly sooner. That means you get to start familiarizing with faces sooner, which means you can now start the conversation sooner. You have the chance to meet people sooner and make those connections sooner. Another thing to remember is to put out the energy that you want to receive. Make sure you're putting in all the effort when you are interacting with someone, trying to build that relationship with someone that you would want from them. You want the same energy, you want the same effort in building a relationship from them. Well, you need to give it too. I admit that this is going to be a bit of a stretch in terms of the topic at hand, the whole friendship thing, but remember that you are in a new location, which means no one knows you, and this is your chance to reinvent yourself. This is your chance to become whoever you want to be. If you want to be more confident, you want to be more outgoing, you want to be the person that's surrounded by all the friends, this is your chance to be that person. And of course, if you want to be surrounded by all the friends, you have to make said friends. To make said friends, you got to go talk to people. So it's kind of related. But I bring this up because if you've already moved, or maybe you're in the process of moving, or maybe you're deciding if you want to move at all, and the whole, will I make friends? Am I going to be lonely? Are people going to like me? If that's something that's on your mind and you're worried about the move, or if you're already there, you're having a hard time adjusting, I did make a video about why moving was the best thing I ever did for myself. I'll link it at the end of this video, put a link in the description box for you, but give that a watch and hopefully that'll help change your perspective on things. Now here's the part of the video, part of the series that I'm also very excited about. This is where I want you to share your perspective, your tips and tricks, your experiences in the comments. If you've moved to a new city, what did you do to make friends? What did you try that didn't work? What did you try that worked? Was it hard for you, or did you actually have like a really easy time making friends? Everyone has different personalities, everyone has different perspectives, mindsets, which all play into it, into how fast or slow you make friends in your new location. But I think something about this series that has the potential to be so helpful for others is the relatability. Knowing that you're not alone, knowing that other people have gone through it or have answers for you that maybe I don't have. Another thing, let me know what you think of this series, because I really like giving advice. And I really like the idea of like being able to give my take as well as you guys giving your take on a situation. Obviously, we need things to give advice on in order for this series to continue. I had to change the battery. But yeah, I am working on a form so that we can hopefully get more submissions. So keep an eye out for that. I'll leave it in a comment, maybe in the description box as well. I feel like this series is a great way to connect with you guys and hear your experiences, hear your tips and tricks for whatever the advice may be. And I feel like this is going to be a really good bonding moment for us. So let's keep it going.